Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named KR17 in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My husband cheated on me. My husband is cheating on me, and when I found out, it was like the air was knocked out of my lungs. I couldn't breathe. It felt like someone hit me so hard that it knocked me down. We have been married for 9 years and I thought he was my person. We have been together since 2013. He admitted that it has been going on for over a year. He met her online. He works remotely from our flat and I do not. I found out he's had her in our flat while I've been at work and he's not working. I have an appointment with a solicitor on Tuesday and I'm considering my options. I just can't believe this is happening to me. I love him so much. It feels like the air has been knocked out of my lungs." User Scary Alternative said, "I'm so sorry. It happened to me too. I know it hurts so badly, but I promise it gets better. The most important thing to remember is that you did nothing wrong. You did nothing to deserve this. My ex-husband cheated on my birthday. I actually never even suspected anything and found out purely by accident. I had spent the night before I found out at my sister's house to celebrate with her and my nephew, and then the plan was to meet up at home with him to go out to our favorite restaurant for my birthday dinner. I got home a little early, so I was just chilling, messing around on my tablet, waiting for him. Then I got an email notification. I almost never check my email as it's always spam, but for some reason this time I did. Well, he apparently forgot, as had I, that he had also synced his email on the tablet as well, and it was actually meant for him. It was from the girl he had met on Craigslist the night before, saying she had the best time and couldn't wait to see him again. I seriously never would have suspected. I trusted him fully. I thought I knew him. I called my best friend who dropped everything and came to help me pack as much as we could. I sent him a text that just said, "F you, I know what you did, I'm filing for divorce," and I left. But then I got mad and I went full scorched earth. You see, he was an immigrant from South America. We hadn't started his citizenship process yet as we didn't have the best jobs or much money. I also knew his visa was set to expire shortly after the divorce was finalized, so I may have anonymously emailed his work and let them know he was now working illegally while also anonymously notifying certain authorities that he was working and living here illegally. He was fired and deported. I may be a terrible person for doing it, but as far as I'm concerned, he deserved it, and it made me feel better. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. User Dear Parsnip said, "He has had an affair with her in your bed. It doesn't get much more disrespectful than that. You deserve better, and I'm glad you are taking steps to get away from him." Update. My update is that we aren't staying married and I have decided to seek a divorce. My husband got upset at that. The other woman ended up being pregnant and her own husband wasn't the father. My husband is. I found out from my solicitor that she is having some legal issues in addition to the problems in her personal life. After my husband was confirmed as the father, that came with him having at least half custody, if not full custody, of his son. My husband said I could be his son's mother and we could raise him together. I do want to be a mother, but I don't want to raise a child that isn't mine. I decided to go through with the divorce. I moved out and am not speaking with my husband. I am working with the landlord to get out of our leasehold. Since my husband and I don't own property or have children and are both employed, the biggest thing with our divorce is the timing. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen instantly. We aren't wealthy, so anything we do have will be equally split. I have a solicitor and am just waiting out the time until the divorce goes through. My husband doesn't want a divorce, but he can't stop it. I still love him. I know it makes me sound foolish, but I was considering staying, but I couldn't stay married to him after he wanted me to raise his son. Even though I still love him, some days I still can't believe this is really happening to me. The second post was made in the scam subreddit a few weeks ago. The post was titled, "He stole all of my money. I received an after-hours call from my credit union. The caller ID showed up as the same name and number saved in my phone. The male caller stated he was with fraud prevention and that my debit card had attempted to be used for a $400 charge at a Staples in Atlanta, Georgia, and also at Walmart. However, both charges were declined as they were outside my region. He asked if the charges were mine, and I told him I wasn't in Atlanta. He asked if the card was lost, stolen, or in my possession, and I said I had it. He told me to shred the card and that they would mail a new one to me within 3 to 5 business days. He offered to see if I was eligible to receive the card expedited via FedEx, and I said it wasn't necessary. He proceeded to verify my information, such as my name, phone number, and address, which were all correct. He did not ask for my PIN, social security number, debit card number, or account numbers. He then said he would enroll me to receive future texts if there were questionable charges instead of calling me. I received a text asking if I wanted to be subscribed, and I had to reply yes. Next, he was completing forms to file and said he would need me to log into my account to verify that it was me and that I didn't see any other fraudulent charges. I was texted a link to my credit union and everything looked the same, so I logged in. I then received another text containing a security code that I entered on the site, followed by a message that I was now okay to exit. I was a bit confused, so I opened my mobile app and verified that I didn't see any fraudulent charges. A few times during the call, he would put me on hold and there was actual music and business ads that would play. Finally, he said everything had been taken care of and reiterated that my account was intact and that I'd receive a replacement card in a few days. He was extremely pleasant with no accent, no static, etc. Everything seemed 100% legitimate, so I thanked him and hung up. I then began looking through my account to see where I had used my debit card recently, as I don't use it much. It eventually logged me out due to inactivity. When I logged back in, I immediately saw that all of my money had been drained. I was literally left with $5 in checking and $0 in savings. He had transferred $5,400 directly to another credit union account using a generic name I didn't recognize. I had already deleted the text from the scammer before I realized what happened. Viewing phone data from my mobile carrier, I was able to see that the texts were from a Eureka, California phone number and not a 5-digit number like I had assumed. I immediately called my credit union and spoke to a female representative, briefly explaining that someone had fraudulently accessed my account and taken all of my funds. She asked if I had received the call from their toll-free fraud number, and I said no, it was the actual business number. She basically told me to change my password and that she would send a message to have someone contact me during business hours. She said most likely they would close my account and also create a new mobile username. She was unable to freeze or reverse the funds from the scammer's account. Tomorrow, I will visit the credit union in person and possibly file a police report as well. I don't know what I'll do if they don't recover my funds. Update. I called my credit union as soon as I woke up yesterday morning and briefly explained the situation. The representative informed me that there were already notes on my account and that staff was working on it. He couldn't divulge any information to me but seemed positive that my funds would be recovered. I was told to go to my nearest branch to close my account. I showed up at the credit union in the afternoon and had to explain the situation again. The woman started following the trail and looked into the scammer's account. His account was opened 2 days prior and had already been flagged and frozen. Evidently, I wasn't the only one fooled, as his account already had a negative balance of over 10 grand. While I sat in her office, I overheard another lady come in and inform a teller that she had received the exact same phone call I did. She was smarter than me, though, as she hung up on him and decided to visit in person to verify. In less than 24 hours, my funds were reimbursed even though I was technically at fault. I chose to leave my account open until today so that pending transactions could go through. However, I did have to open a new account, change my username and password, get a new debit card, and order new checks. I've already transferred all of my funds to the new account just in case. It's been a hassle changing login and bank information on so many sites, but I'm relieved and won't be so trusting in the future. Thank you to everyone who showed me empathy or shared their own stories. If they help even one person in the future, it has been worth all the negative comments I received as well. Stay safe out there, everyone. User Onion Man said, "Scammers are one of the lowest forms of life. They are a complete and total waste of oxygen used by their existence. They are parasitic leeches. Yes, I fully understand that there are people trapped in a Myanmar warehouse doing tech scams against their will, and they are obviously exempt from my vitriol. If you wake up every day and make the conscious choice to attempt to cheat people out of their hard-earned money, you are scum." User Spider-Man said, "I got similarly scammed and was a bit out of it because I had surgery prior to the call. I had to change a number of things because of it. The scammers had also spoofed the number." This third and final post was made by a user named Large Sentence. The post is titled, "Really Confused. Don't know why GF cheated on me with my best friends. I don't even know how to feel right now. Despite reading so many posts on Reddit for so long, I used to think that when I got into a relationship, I would definitely be more cautious. But it seems like fate didn't want it that way for me. I and my girlfriend, let's call her Sarah, were in a relationship for about 3 years. It all started when we were doing our master's degrees. I used to have a crush on her, and through a truth or dare game, we ended up making out. It turned out she too had a crush on me. We began hanging out a lot, and surprisingly, she asked me out. We had a lot of fun together. She genuinely felt like the perfect partner, and I don't think I could love anyone more. I am Indian and I was living in London. She is half Indian and half British. Despite being a bit conservative, my parents loved her a lot and my friends used to keep nudging us to get married. After our master's degrees, both of us got great jobs. I did so well during my master's that my starting salary was 6 digits. It was great to have such a good job and such an amazing girlfriend, along with a wonderful group of friends. I felt like the luckiest person ever. I had even planned to propose to Sarah, and the only person who knew this was my mom, who wanted to help me make it the best proposal ever. Now starts the part where everything just fell apart to the core. My best friend, let's call him Ryan, and I have been best friends for almost 8 years. I genuinely consider him as my brother. He had a girlfriend, let's call her Tanya. They had been together for 4 years and had also met each other when they were in college. One day, Sarah and I were chilling in the park. I got a phone call from Tanya saying that she wanted something from my house. So I went to our house and Tanya was waiting outside my house. I gave her the keys, and while I was there, I got a call from my mom who told me that my dad had had a stroke and I had to rush halfway across Europe. I texted Sarah as soon as possible regarding this and rushed to the train station with a bag. I reached there on time, and due to God's grace, my dad was well. There was still no response from Sarah, which surprised me a lot. I tried calling her, but she wouldn't return my calls. The day after, I went to my house with flowers, like I usually did when I came home from work. I entered the house and heard someone moaning from the master bedroom. I froze for 3 seconds. I knew what was happening, and I walked towards the room and opened the door. I saw my best friend of 8 years having sex with my girlfriend. I was numb. I couldn't even comprehend what was happening. They both froze too after seeing me. The flowers and my bag fell from my hand. Controlling my emotions, I ran out of the house and sat in a taxi and asked the driver to just drive away. My mind was still trying to comprehend what had happened, and despite being a strong person on the inside, I started crying. The cab driver was an older man who was shocked to see my sudden reaction. He stopped the car and, believe it or not, actually comforted me. I ended up going to a pub. I called a friend of mine whom I had known since school days. She came over and picked me up. She drove me to her place. I poured my heart out and I blessed them for their caring behavior and attitude. They let me sleep on their couch. During all this, I was surprised not to receive any calls from Sarah or Ryan, but it just made me feel so low that I had such a horrible girlfriend and best friend who didn't even have the courtesy to call after what they had done. I slept, vowing never to even acknowledge them in my life. I woke up at 3 a.m. with around 100 messages from Sarah and Ryan. There were a million calls from Sarah. I didn't bother with it. I put my phone on silent and went back to sleep. I woke up at 9 a.m., called my boss and told him what happened and that I needed a day off. He was such an amazing boss that he not only gave me a week off, but also invited me over to his house to talk if I ever needed to. I thanked him so many times and he said he understood. The phone calls and messages had doubled since I last saw them at 3 a.m. I am still at my friend's house. She too took a day off and consoled me. I ended up telling her that I was going to propose to Sarah and shared my plans after that. I broke down again and she hugged me for a while. She told me that though it is hard, I couldn't let my emotions overwhelm me because I needed to be strong for myself. She even told me that I could take a small mini vacation and that she and her husband had no problem having me at their place for as long as it was required. She got a call from her office and told me that she had to leave due to a sudden emergency at the office. After she left, I opened my laptop and here I am writing about my heartbreak. Update. I met Tanya, and after the events that followed, I don't know what to believe. I very badly need advice on what I'm about to convey. It may be long, but please do read it. So at around 9 a.m., Tanya came to my friend's house, clearly having been crying, as she looked very pale and had bloodshot eyes. I gave her a quick hug and we sat down for breakfast. She didn't say anything at all. I understood that she was waiting for us to be alone. After reassuring me a bit, my friend and her husband left for work. Tanya and I sat down on the couch. I touched her shoulder and asked how she was doing. She looked at me with teary eyes and suddenly broke down, hugging me. I thought she too was feeling hurt and needed to cry it out. She started mumbling that she was sorry and that it was her fault. I was sure she must be blaming herself for not being there for Ryan or felt bad for what happened to me. I told her that it wasn't her fault and that they were to blame for our pain. When we broke the hug, she just held my hand and told me that she needed to confess something. I was scared about what she had to say in such a situation. She first confessed, saying that she had an affair with one of her exes whom she met at her workplace. It had been going on for a a few months. The day she had called and asked for my house keys, she had planned to meet her ex there. So apparently, after I left with my stuff, she and her ex did it in my house. It turns out that during this time, Sarah had come back to our house and found Tanya having sex with her ex in her room. At this point, I really was wondering if my house was a place where people had sex whenever they felt like it. I was silent for a minute and asked her that Ryan too cheated on her, so why was she saying it was her fault that I was cheated on? So apparently, Tanya's ex had his back towards the door, and when Sarah entered the room, she thought it was me and Tanya having sex. I laughed. I genuinely laughed and told her that it was a nice story, now tell me the truth. She took her phone out and showed me conversations between her ex, Sarah, and Ryan. The conversations basically included things where Sarah called Tanya names and said that I was unfaithful to her and had the nerve to use the excuse of my father's stroke to throw her off. Tanya didn't even try to tell them that it wasn't me. So it turns out that Sarah and Ryan were influenced by some of our mutual friends to have a revenge affair on us. They at first denied it since they felt uncomfortable, but after a lot of nudging, they finally did it. The day I returned from the hospital where my father was, they planned to do it. She further explained that she was called to my house after I left. By then, Sarah and Ryan were both shocked by my behavior, the flowers, and my tickets and bills. They called my mom to confirm if I indeed had visited them, and my mom confirmed it. It's when Tanya spilled the beans that she was having sex with her ex and not me, and that I was still faithful to Sarah. This is when reality apparently hit both Ryan and Sarah. Ryan apparently slapped Tanya. Sarah screamed and broke down crying. It turns out that since then, they have been calling me and trying to reach out after realizing that they were the ones who ended up breaking my trust. When Tanya finished talking, my first instinct was to shout at her and kick her out of the house, but I was so emotionally drained that I started to cry and suddenly began laughing. I looked at her and asked her just one question. Are you telling the truth? Tanya said that she swore on her father's grave that she was telling the truth and that she was really sorry for what she had caused me. She broke down crying very hard. I just sat there quietly for a while. I asked for her phone, took the screenshots, and sent them to myself. I asked her to leave the house and never try to contact me again. She pleaded, saying that she didn't mean to do that. I lost my temper and shouted, saying, yes, you meant to cheat on your boyfriend. Yes, you did want to destroy my relationship because you destroyed yours. Do you think I would be the same after this? Do you think you will be the same? I cursed and said a lot of mean things to her. She finally left, and before going, she said she had always thought of me as a perfect guy for any girl and regretted what she had done. I just retaliated and told her that her regret and apology wouldn't change what had already happened. She left crying, and I too was so affected that I began crying. My friend was back home and shocked to see my situation. She sat down with me and I told her everything. She told me not to believe Tanya since she is a cheater and a liar, though she told me that I should maybe read Sarah's and Ryan's texts, if not respond, at least read them to see how much truth there is in Tanya's story. Update 2. I don't know what's causing problems, but here is update 2. I can't thank you enough. The last 72 hours have been very tough, and your support, suggestions, and positivity have helped throughout. A lot has happened since I last updated. Things have changed a lot. Right now, I don't have the energy to say much, but I want to clear up a few things before my next post. My visit to see my dad was for 2 days, so I caught them in the act 2 days after I returned. I am staying at one of my really good friends' houses. I have known her since forever. She is like a sister I never had. She is really street smart, sharp, and knows her stuff. She helped me plan how to tackle this. I can't elaborate on what has happened because right now my head hurts, but the amount of support you guys showed was so overwhelming that I wanted to at least update you that things are not good but better than before. In this brief time, I met Tanya's ex, and I now plan to meet Sarah with Nikki and will then update you guys tomorrow. Thank you again for your support. I swear I wouldn't have survived the pain if I hadn't known that there were people out there who don't know me but still want to support me in a crisis. A few of them have helped me by letting me vent to them in chats. I thank you again. Update 3. After Tanya left, I had a talk with Nikki. She suggested I read the text messages sent by Ryan and Sarah. I took her advice and read a few of them. They included things like from Sarah, "I messed up, please call back, it's all a mistake, I love you, please let me explain." From Ryan, "Bro, I am very sorry, please let me explain. I don't have any feelings for Sarah, I don't love her, please let me explain." It included the same story that Tanya told. As suggested by a few of you, I assumed they planned it, and I connected with Tanya's ex. I called him, we talked for a bit, and I decided to meet him at a nearby coffee shop. I told him not to let anyone know we were meeting or else I would mess up his career. We met soon after, and after seeing him for the first time, I felt maybe Tanya wasn't lying. Here's why. He has a similar physique to mine, though he was 5'11" and I was 6'1". We both fancied a similar hairstyle. He had a tattoo on the back of his neck that looked exactly like mine. Mine is a chakra from Hindu mythology. His was a sun with a similar design. Nikki was with me. I asked a few questions like how long he had been having an affair with Tanya and why he did such a disgusting act of sleeping with someone who is in a relationship. He apologized. I was really angry, but I didn't want to create a scene. I asked him to never contact Tanya or any of her friends again and not repeat such an act ever again. After Nikki and I reached my home, she told me that maybe Tanya wasn't lying and I should talk to Sarah only if I feel it's worth my time. I asked for her opinion and she said that meeting her won't change anything, but you might get closure and the answers you seek. I called my mom to confirm things suggested by others. She did confirm that Sarah had called to ask if my father was okay and how his health was. I told her everything and asked for her opinion. She told me that maybe if meeting her gives me closure and answers, then I should meet her, but with someone. I didn't want to text or call her, so I told Nikki to do so. She called Sarah and asked her to meet me at my home the next day. According to Nikki, Sarah sounded broken, almost as if someone had made her swallow glass and was being choked. I didn't feel any sympathy, which was not a good sign for someone I would have died for. Update 4. Nikki and I were waiting at my house for Sarah to show up. Sarah arrived around 10 a.m. Nikki answered the door. I was sitting in the living room with screenshots of texts and messages printed, the ones I found suspicious. Sarah entered the living room and seeing her brought down every single emotion I have ever known upon me like a sudden bucket dump. She looked genuinely miserable. Her eyes were sunken and it was clear she hadn't slept in a while. Even though she looked like she had showered and gotten ready somewhat, tear marks were visible on her face. She was literally shivering as she walked in. As soon as she saw me, she rushed towards me, but Nikki stopped her from doing so and told her that there would be no physical contact, only verbal discussion. She broke down crying again and finally sat in the chair opposite mine. Nikki made sure to sit in a way that would allow her to stop Sarah if she planned to come at me again. I thought I was ready to talk, but I wasn't. I felt so much pain looking at her. It included the pain of seeing her in such a horrible state, the pain of what she did to me, etc. But Nikki pressed my hand and nodded, showing her support. Nikki started by asking Sarah to repeat the events that had happened. Sarah told the entire story and it matched Tanya's story and my research. As suggested by others, it might have been pre-planned. I then spoke and talked to Sarah. The conversation went something like this. Me: how long have you been cheating on me and how many times have you done it? Sarah: I swear I never cheated on you before, and I never loved anyone but you. I didn't even cheat on you. Me: having intercourse with someone who is not your boyfriend while still being in a relationship seems like cheating to me. Sarah: it was a mistake. It was not supposed to happen. I was deceived and lied to. Me: so you willingly getting naked with my best friend happened by mistake. You having intercourse with him while being in a relationship with me happened accidentally. Sarah: Tanya lied to me that you and she were sleeping together and what I saw just confirmed it. Me: so you saw me with her while I was almost 100 miles away visiting my father who nearly died. Sarah: Tanya's partner had the same tattoo as you. I thought it was you. Me: so you decided to have sex with Ryan without thinking about confronting me then and there. Why didn't you respond to my message? I texted you saying that I was visiting my father due to an emergency. Sarah: I thought you were making an excuse so I wouldn't suspect you were cheating on me. Me: how could you even think that I would use my father's health as an excuse? You knew he was unwell and you dare to accuse me of using him as a medium to cheat on you. Tell me something. In the last 3 years that we have been together, have I given you any reason to think that I cannot be trusted or that I don't love you? When was the last time you thought I was suspicious? Sarah: never. You were perfect. You loved me and cared for me. You were the best thing that could ever happen to me. Me: I loved you and cared for you, and yet you thought I would betray you and leave you for someone else. Sarah: I am sorry. I let my emotions get the better of me, and she named a few friends here, kept saying that she deserves better and maybe she should have revenge on me with Ryan. Me: and you agreed. Sarah: I didn't at first, I was against it, but seeing how heartbroken Ryan was, I thought you were evil, and the fact that everyone kept telling Ryan and me to do it didn't help me think. I went with it. Me: So, you love Ryan more than me? I am such a fool to even think about planning my life with you, marrying you, and whatnot. I was so sure about us that I was going to propose to you. I wanted you in my life, but now, knowing you love him more, I think it's best we never see each other again. Sarah starts crying very hard. Sarah, I don't love Ryan. Not even a single cell of me feels that way for him. I love you. I would have said yes to marrying you 1,000,000 times. Please, I am sorry I messed up. I always loved you and you only. Me. You gave him sympathy sex and you are calling it a mistake. Sarah. No, I didn't even want to sleep with him. What are you talking about? Me. You admitted to feeling bad, seeing him heartbroken, and with a little nudge, you slept with him. That is sympathy sex. And I was gone for 2 days, and God knows how many times my bed was used for your worthless sympathy sex. Sarah becomes hysterical at this point, crying her eyes out and saying things like, I love you, and I swear we did it only once, and it had only one objective, and that was revenge. Me. I loved you, knowing that come what may, this girl would stand by me in my sorrows, pain, and happiness. I was so happy to have someone like you, but now you have destroyed my trust, my love, and me. Sarah, please don't say that. I don't have any feelings for Ryan, and I never did. I love you with all my heart. Give me a chance, please. I will do whatever you want me to do, even at the cost of letting you have sex with any girl in front of me 100 times. I am ready. Me. That's the difference between you and me. I would rather suffer in pain and heal than cause pain to others by getting my revenge on them. Sarah, don't say that, please. I can't imagine my life without you. You are my soulmate, I know it. Me. The soulmate who you distrusted. The soulmate who you thought was being unfaithful to you. The soulmate you thought didn't love you anymore. Sarah, I am sorry. I swear I won't do such a thing again. I will go to therapy, work on my emotions, and control them, but please don't end our relationship because of what Tanya made me do. Me. Tanya told you to distrust me. Tanya told you to give Ryan sympathy sex. Tanya told you to get naked with him. Answer me. Sarah, I am sorry. I should have known better than to trust a cheater I shouldn't have listened to. I love you, and I will never stop loving you. Please give me a chance. Me, your apologies, your I love yous won't undo what has happened. They won't remove the picture of my girlfriend and best friend having sex from my mind. You had someone else inside you when you were with me. You cannot take that back. You cheated on me, whether you did it out of pleasure or revenge. It doesn't matter. You had someone else in you and you can't change it or undo it. Sarah cried and continued with the I love yous and I am sorry, please take me back. I don't want to live without you in my life. I looked at Nikki and clearly she saw the pain in my eyes. She asked Sarah to leave, but Sarah refused and told her that she loves me and wants to be with me forever. Nikki didn't want more drama and asked her to leave or else they would get a restraining order on her. Unwillingly, Sarah got up and Nikki escorted her out. While leaving, Sarah kept repeating, please don't end us, we are stronger and better. I love you, please give me a second chance. As soon as she was out of sight, I slipped from the sofa and fell onto the floor, crying and thinking about how I ended up in such a bad situation. Nikki sat next to me and comforted me. She told me to rest and that we would talk about this later. She helped me to the guest room and I was so exhausted that I fell asleep. I woke up and saw Nikki's husband by my bed working on his laptop. I was surprised to see him and he told me that Nikki had to run a few errands and didn't want to leave me alone, so she requested her husband to keep me company. I cried a bit and hugged him, telling him that I owe my life to them and that I will be with them forever and help them anytime they need my help. He told me it's okay and that knowing my parents also need my help, he wanted to make sure I could get better so I could help my parents. In the last 24 hours, a reality hit me. I have been very selfish. I have been focusing on my pain for so long that I forgot I had to be strong for my parents who need me right now. Update 5. I called Sarah and told her that I had come to a decision and needed to talk to her. She reached my place within 20 minutes. Luckily for me, she didn't try doing anything, though she kept saying that she loves me and that we can work this out, along with a lot of other things. Before I told her my decision, I wanted a few answers that some people on Reddit had suggested I ask, as they found her previous answers suspicious. Me. I want an honest answer, and you cannot lie because I have my evidence. Have you ever cheated on me before? Sarah. No, never. I never even let that thought come to me. Many of our friends had crushes on me and used to flirt, but I never responded back to them. Me. How many times did you have sex with Ryan? She starts bawling and saying that she loves me and that it meant nothing. Me. Just answer my question. Sarah. We did it twice, the day you saw us and the night before. Many people on Reddit had suggested that the time I caught her couldn't be their first time, and her answer just confirmed it. It dawned on me that she did it twice, meaning she wanted more after the first time. Even if there was a single cell that still loved her and cared for her, it died right there. I looked at Nikki, she looked at me and slightly nodded her head. I looked back at Sarah, me. Okay, I got my answers. I am going to ask you to leave and never try to contact me again. I need my space and the relationship is over. This news hit her really hard as she fell on her knees, hugged my legs, and started crying. I told her this was of no use and that she should continue her relationship with Ryan or with someone else, and that I am not the right person for her. She kept saying, "Please don't let it end. You are my life, my happiness. I don't want to lose you." I told her that I don't care, and if she doesn't leave right now, it won't be good for her. She refused to move, and not even threatening to call the cops flinched her. She looked at me and said, "I don't care whoever tries to stop me. I love you and will always do so forever." I gently pushed her away and freed myself from her hug. I told her that it's over and that she needs to move on. It was getting out of hand, so Nikki literally dragged her away from me. However, I did call the cops and got a restraining order on her just to make sure she doesn't cause any issues. She has been constantly messaging and calling. I finally blocked her. A few of our mutual friends tried contacting me, but I blocked the ones I knew who were a bad influence. I was a mess and still am right now. I asked Nikki to leave because I felt like she had done a lot, and this healing process I must do alone. She refused, but I begged her, and she unwillingly left. I am feeling a lot of pain, but I know this pain will get over soon. I had loved Sarah a lot. Though it was only 3 years, I felt like I had been in love with her my whole life, and removing someone takes a toll. However, deep inside, I feel relief knowing that life will get better and that I won't be haunted by my past, as I have decided to let go. Update 6. A few of my friends who had pushed for the revenge affair have been trying to call me and apologize and so on. One of those friends even showed up at my place saying that she is sorry for what she did. I told her that I don't care what she has to say. I no longer consider her or any of them as my friends. She told me that Sarah is horrible and that she has been crying nonstop ever since she left my place. She said that Sarah hasn't been eating properly and tried to harm herself by hitting herself on the mirror, slapping herself, and doing a lot of other things. I told her that the way she helped Sarah have a revenge affair, I am sure she can help Sarah move on too. She tried to say more, but I shut the door in her face. According to my friends whom I trust, they have been receiving nonstop calls and messages from Sarah since I blocked her everywhere. They tell me they haven't responded and that they plan to keep it that way. I was really glad to hear that. Update 7. It's been a long month. I couldn't post as promised after my meeting with my therapist because it kind of shook me a bit. I am sorry, but I feel I shouldn't have gone to therapy because now I am confused regarding my decisions. Don't get me wrong, the therapist was very sweet and really understanding. However, she put forth a few points that I did have answers to, but those points were exactly what I wanted to avoid. When I questioned her regarding this, she told me that she wanted me to understand the situation completely and that the fact that I still care about Sarah means something. I refused right away, saying that I don't care about her, but she countered by saying that during our therapy, I apparently kept defending Sarah's actions by saying things like she was hurt and would have never done this to me, etc. She further asked me a question that many people have also asked me, why I haven't talked to any of the friends who encouraged the revenge affair. I told her that it doesn't matter because they are wrong. She explained that I have been friends with them for almost 5 years, and if they were with me for so long, what caused them to be so hostile against me? This question kind of left me silent for a while. She then asked a question, do you still love her? My eyes welled up a bit and I said yes. I know what I said and please don't hate me. It's not something I can control. I can't stop loving someone I've been in love with for so long. And I am still questioning my decisions and whatnot after talking to my mom, Nikki, the therapist, and you guys. I left and was thinking about my next step. Nikki had a busy day that day, so I called my mom. We talked for a bit. She asked me if I was considering the therapist's suggestion and would talk to some of the friends who proposed the revenge affair. I thought for a while and told her that I will think about it. The next day in the evening, I talked to Nikki and told her that I don't think it's a good idea to talk to those friends. She didn't say anything clearly at first, but then I pressed harder and she said that you do deserve to know why your friends betrayed you in such a way. She told me that suggesting a revenge affair is not something you do, and since we are all well educated, it doesn't add up. I told her I will think it over. Friday went well. I was distracted a bit, but a few of my trustworthy friends came over to talk. I did kind of ask them about it, and one of them even said that it's what he's been wondering for so long, why they did that. We are a group of 12 friends, and apparently only 4 stood by me and were against the revenge affair. During our meeting, I noticed that 2 of my friends were kind of quiet, so when I had a chance to be alone with one of them, I asked if everything was okay. He told me that he needed to tell me something important. It turns out that out of the friends who suggested the revenge affair, a few of them had crushes on me and even on Sarah. I was like, so why are you so worried about it? He told me that he thinks that it could be the reason why they encouraged the revenge affair. I told him that he was overthinking and was defending Sarah's actions, but he covered up by saying that he only thinks that is the reason and that he never was defending Sarah. Cut to today, I had a long talk with my mother, and I did talk to Nikki a bit, and I have come to the following decisions. I will talk to a few of the friends who suggested the revenge affair in the presence of my trustworthy friends. I will talk to Sarah. A few people on Reddit asked me to be friends with her, but keep a distance for some time before getting civil with her. And before you guys start hating me, please know that I am not considering reconciliation, and I am not considering getting into a relationship with her right now. However, knowing that things can be handled better, I am considering this approach. I am going to be honest, everything happened so fast that I couldn't process most things, which is why I want to process a few things now. Though I shouldn't bother, I keep feeling like it doesn't make sense, and I still need my answers. I thought that after meeting with Sarah, things would be fine and I would get closure. However, the meeting with my therapist is making me think. Please let me know if you think I am right or have any suggestions. I am sorry if this update disappointed you guys who were encouraging me to move on and heal. Guys, I swear I am healing. I promise that all your suggestions and advice have not gone to waste. You have helped me make the right choices, and to be honest, I don't regret them at all. I don't regret breaking up at all. However, this is something I need, so please let me know your points on this. Thank you again. Update 8. Yes, I did have a talk with the friends who suggested the revenge affair. I first had a talk with 2 girls from our group who, according to Sarah, had proposed the idea. Both of them were super apologetic and kept saying that they shouldn't have urged Sarah to do what she did. One of them confessed that because she had a crush on me, she thought this was a good idea to break Sarah and me off. I asked her that in her eyes, I was a cheater. So why would she want to be in a relationship with me knowing I supposedly cheated on Sarah? She said that at that moment, she only cared about breaking my relationship with Sarah up, and that's why she planted the idea of the revenge affair. I asked her if she had been in contact with Sarah. She responded by saying that Sarah had blocked her and a few of them for the past few days. I then asked both of them why they did that. Just having a crush on me doesn't justify taking such a rash decision. I asked them that we have been friends for so long, so why didn't they call me to curse me or call me names when they found out? Apparently, they all had promised to go no contact with me. I then asked them if Sarah has feelings for Ryan. They responded by saying that she doesn't. I then asked them if they knew that Sarah slept with him twice. They said no, that they only knew about the time they did it the night before I caught them. After a few more questions, I told them that I am really hurt by being betrayed, not just by the love of my life, but also by my friends who were my support. Both of them got emotional, saying that they are sorry and that they promise not to take such immature decisions. I forgave them, but asked them to stay out of my life, as I don't need their toxic nature in my life. They were really hurt by this. They asked if we could at least be in contact once in a while. I said no. I left soon after and met with a few guys who gave similar responses, although one of them was pissed off at me for breaking Sarah's heart. I basically ignored him and figured that he has a big crush on Sarah and whatnot. And now, the fact that blew my mind was that a few of them knew about Tanya's affair with her partner. Boy, that one hit me like a bag of bricks. I was so mindful I couldn't sit there for longer. So after the meeting, my friends and I had a talk at my place. The one who theorized that the revenge affair was because the friends had crushes on me or Sarah. We discussed further if I planned to meet Sarah. I finally unblocked Sarah on my phone, ignored all her messages, and sent her a text saying that I would meet her on Sunday and asked if she could come. Update 9. So I finally met Sarah, and I don't think I plan to meet her again for at least some time. She shows up at my place, and this time I did it alone, without anyone. She arrives, and when I saw her, I honestly felt like someone had punched me in the gut. She was really miserable. She had a few marks on her face and a few bandages on her wrist, clearly indicating that she had been beating herself up, as I was told by one of the friends who suggested the revenge affair. She looks at me with teary eyes and hugs me. I let it stay for a few seconds before pushing her back. We sit in the drawing room. We talked for a long time. So I am going to just summarize the conversation. Me. Before we start, I just want to be clear that I won't be reconciling and you should get that idea out of your head. She just nods. Me. Why are you hurting yourself like this? Do you really think I feel happy when you are hurting yourself this way? She. I can't forgive myself for what I did. I admit to having done it twice, but not out of pleasure, but because I wanted to hurt you more. Me. I am not here to talk to you about that anymore. I didn't call you for this. She. I know what I did was wrong. I was rash, immature, and stupid. I shouldn't have been so carried away with my emotions. I shouldn't have distrusted you. It's just that I loved you so much and I always felt you loved me just as much. But when I thought you were being unfaithful, all that love converted to hatred for what I thought you did. I am sorry. I shouldn't have been so stupid. Please, I don't want to move on in life without having you in it. I can't. Me. It's good that you understand what mistakes you have made, and I hope you won't repeat those in your future relationships. Look, I don't think harming yourself will change what has happened, and at this point, you are hurting yourself and me too, so I am going to ask you to stop doing it. She. How can I forgive myself for what I did? I literally destroyed a relationship that I thought was broken but was actually perfect in every way. I realized how lucky I was to be in such a good relationship and how I hurt the person who I thought was bad but was actually the person who cared for me the most. I know I have even destroyed you and us, and I cannot let myself live with that pain and guilt. I then tell her about the friends who suggested the revenge affair and the guy who had a crush on her, etc. After listening to the recording, she buried her face in her palms and began crying, saying things like, "Why did this happen to me? Why did I listen to them?" I then explained to her that there is something broken in our relationship that cannot be fixed. However, I told her that I am willing to be just friends with her and that she can approach me only for emergencies. But for now, I want my space. And I don't want her to do anything foolish. I want her to try to move on with her life. She asked if there was a possibility that we could get together again in the future. I told her that I don't know what the future holds for me and neither does she. It's possible she finds someone or I find someone, but for now I want my space and no contact unless I decide to talk to her again. She agreed to it and told me that she is ready to wait a whole lifetime if that's how long it takes me to get back with her again and that she will wait for me. We talked about a few things and I told her to leave after that. She asked for a last hug. I was reluctant, but I didn't want to hurt her more. It's not who I am. So I did give her that hug. It lasted longer than before. She sobbed a bit on my shoulder. I finally broke the hug. While doing so, she kissed me on the cheek, for which she apologized right away. I knew at that moment that it was a bad idea and that I need to be no contact with her at least until I am healed. She left the house after that. I honestly felt as if I was able to breathe fresh air and that I was no longer suffocating. As of now, I am really going to focus on myself, heal, and try to make new friends. There is a group in my office that I feel has the same vibe as me. I have talked to them and I might befriend a few of them. As for the people who suggested I tell Ryan about how a few friends knew about Tanya's affair, I had no intention of calling him. So I emailed him the audio and a summary of the conversations and blocked him again. Update 10. I am doing better, not completely fine, but much better. My father has healed to a great extent. Nikki is well too. I still haven't done anything for her yet. I am still getting my life together. I did receive Ryan's call through an anonymous number. I talked to him for exactly 5 minutes. He asked if we could talk face to face and I said no and cut the call. He did try to call a couple of times since then, but then stopped. He probably realized it was of no use since I wouldn't budge. I haven't heard from Sarah, though one of my friends did tell me that she has quit her job and is in individual counseling. I did run into one of the friends who suggested the revenge affair at the store. She tried to offer me coffee, but I politely declined, though she kept trying to talk to me. My job is going well. I made 2 really good friends from work, and they are both really great people. That's for now, I guess. Thank you to all those who were checking up on me time and again. I am doing really better. I went to a few more sessions of therapy. Mentally, I feel fine. I do sometimes feel really emotionally drained, but that has become better. Final update. Hey Reddit, what's up? I've been gone for a long time. I apologize to all those whose direct messages were responded to late. I've been aiming for a higher position at work, so I've been having busier days. I just wanted to say that I'm doing fantastically. Life is in a place I never thought it would be after that phase. Nevertheless, I'm glad there are many of you who constantly texted me, and I am truly touched by your support. Those who want to know about my ex, well, she is in the city I live in. I see her sometimes around, but we're not in much contact. We talk on calls about once a month sometimes. Besides that, my dad is in good shape. He even came to visit me for about a week and went to the gym with me. So life is good. I'm grateful to everyone who helped me during this phase. I don't let that phase disturb me, and I know you guys are always there to help me stay on the right path. Thank you. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.